Hi guys, and welcome to my new video. What do you think of my hair? I'm Ginger. I've joined the Weasley clan and yeah, Ginger now. I just had it done, so it still looks a bit really orangey, especially here because that's where she started doing it, but I really like it. So today I'm gonna be talking about Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. At first I just wanted to do a review video about this, but there are so many review videos already, and I actually went to London and I saw the play this summer, and I'm so happy that I did. It was so good. And I just finished reading the book and like reliving the play, which was awesome. It was so good. If you ever get the chance, like, I hope they will continue like having this play for years and years to come, because I do really want to see it again, and I hope they will go worldwide or DVDs or whatever. But it's so good. It's like you were seeing a magic show as well, because it was awesome. I actually tried to get tickets to see it another time, like next year, like December, November next year. Sold out completely. Tried to get tickets when new tickets were released. Nope, sold out. But anyway, I did get to see it once, so I thought it would be fun to actually look through the book and like some of the scenes and tell you how they were acted out, what it looked like, what it felt like. Obviously, guys, spoilers, massive spoilers. If you haven't read the book, please do read the book first, you know, like keep the secret. It's so much fun to read it and just like be surprised yourself. And if you know that you are gonna see the play, or you hope that you're gonna see the play and you don't want anything ruined, you want to like go in there with just be totally surprised and blown away, because you will be, don't watch this video. Just click away now. I will say I loved it. It's amazing. That's my review if you don't want any spoilers. So yeah, if you're still here, you probably think I'm never gonna see the play, or just like in 20 years when there's finally tickets available again, or when it's finally somewhere else than the UK. I'm gonna tell you all about it. I just keep looking at myself and I love it so much. Okay, Act 1, Scene 1. No, I'm not gonna read the entire thing. But it was so weird. Like, okay, first of all, you have different seats, and we had kind of like middle seats, as in they were pretty great, but not like the best seats you could get, but there were a lot of worse seats as well. We were on the, I'm not sure what it's called anymore, but like the second balcony, and then kind of in the front, kind of in the middle, so we saw everything perfectly, but just too far away to actually really see facial expressions and stuff, but you could kind of like guess them, and it didn't ruin the experience at all. It was brilliant, and I do think that we had great seats. So at the beginning, of course, like, you know, everyone was so excited and kind of like overwhelmed when it started. You could kind of like feel it in the air, and then you saw Harry and Ron and Hermione, and I did have to, like, it took a little bit time, not that much because I knew it beforehand, to get used to Hermione being black, because that's like weird, because she's never black, like not in the books and not in the film. But the actress was amazing. She did such a good job, and like if you just like pushed it to the sides, like, okay, this Hermione, then she really became Hermione. She was amazing. But anyway, of course in the beginning it's like, you know, like, it's okay, the Sorting Hat takes into account what you want, and even if you're Slytherin, it's okay, like the, you know, at the end of the last book, and it's like, amazing. And then, of course, I thought it was really funny when Rose was like, okay, we have to find our friends now, because that's what our parents did, and that's how it works, so we need to find our best friends right now. I thought it was pretty funny. And then, of course, they meet Scorpius, and Scorpius is one of my favorite characters of all time now. He is hilarious, and the guy who played him, I don't know any of the names, like I read the names of course somewhere, but I forgot all of them. But the guy who played him, he's amazing. He was so funny and like awkward and geeky and just perfect. So yeah, so I really like the fact that Albus was like, actually, you know what, I'm gonna sit with him, which kind of reminded me a bit of where Draco, of all people, you know, was like, I can help you make the right friends, and Harry was like, actually, I know who I think I can do this for myself. Clearly you're a bit of an asshole and these guys are cool, even if they're not like popular or anything, or like really famous, awesome wizard families. And this kind of reminded me of that. Not to say that Rose was an asshole, but just, you know, he was like, actually, he seems okay and I don't care who his parents are, I'm just gonna sit with him. I really like that. And then of course came the part when Harry was Slytherin and you kind of, oh not Harry, sorry, when Albus was Slytherin, and there was kind of this gasp going through the crowd because and I was like, wow, so many fan books that I've read or like heard about all just came through. He's Slytherin and befriended Scorpius. I mean, come on, you know how many fan fictions there are that give exactly that scenario, and most people are probably like, well, that's never gonna happen. It did. It happened. So also I kind of forgot, like the first amazing magic trick that you were like, oh my god, are these really wizards, is when they go from the normal muggle platform into platform 9 3/4, and they kind of like turn around and suddenly they're all in wizard robes. It was amazing. They were wearing like muggle clothes and then they did a twirl and suddenly bam, they're in wizard clothes in their school uniforms, and it was awesome. It was like everyone was blown away by that first trick because we had no idea it was going to be such a magic show, because you kind of don't expect it, even though it's, you know, magic, but you kind of just expect them to not really show it. I don't know why, but it was awesome. And then in the beginning, like in the book, I don't know if it was really confusing when you read it, but in the play it was kind of confusing in the beginning that they kind of like skipped to different scenes, and that one they did it really brilliantly, but they never really entirely left the stage, I think, so it was kind of chaotic in the beginning, kind of like, wait, what? Oh, there's another biggie here, okay. But it was fine, and then eventually it settled into the actual story, and that's when it got really good. I also, by the way, love the rumor that Scorpius is Voldemort's son. That's so sad. Poor Draco, poor Scorpius. Can you imagine if he was actually Voldemort's son? He's such a doofus and dorky and adorable. I think Voldemort would be very disappointed in him. Okay, and then you have Act 1, Scene 5, when Hermione is in Harry's office and they're talking about the time turner, and she's like, how can you work here? Your desk is such a mess. And Harry just like casually took out his wand, and like all these papers that were like strewn across his desk just suddenly like went into a pile, like a neat pile at the end. And you know, it's like tricks and mechanics and stuff, but it was like actually seeing magic, like especially because things were going pretty fast, so you didn't actually like think like, wait, how did they do this? You were just like, okay, I'm watching real wizards. This is awesome. They're just actual wizards. They just thought, let's get people with actual magic who can act and do it because it's easier. That's what it felt like. It was awesome. Like such a small bit, but it's also like when we tell people about the play, if they really want to know because they aren't gonna watch it themselves, then that's the part that I always mention and my mom mentions, like that just blew us away. Such a small thing, but it was awesome. Okay, and then you have Act 1, Scene 7, which is where Harry and Albus get into the first like really big fight, and I kind of feel like all the fights in the book might seem a bit like, Harry, you asshole, what are you doing? Like it felt a little bit like that in the play as well, because he's the grown up. But in the play, like the way they acted it, it wasn't like, you know, when you read it, it's kind of like, why would you say that? It just sounds really like, who would interact that way with their kid? But in the play, it was more like you understood it, because especially the actor who played Harry, he was brilliant. Such a range of emotion, like in his voice, in the way he stood, like he was such an emotional actor, like in a really, really good way, that the fights like seemed really natural, like there was no really other outcome between these two men who were like so much alike. And then when I thought, like after the play or in the intermission, I thought about, you know, the Harry Potter books, and like Harry was kind of thick then as well, like didn't understand, never said the right thing, always getting into fights with Ron and Hermione. He was kind of an idiot then too, so it's actually really you know, it fits with his character, because at first you're like, no, this is Harry, my childhood hero, he can't be a bad parent. But then when you think about it, especially if like Albus is kind of like him and kind of resents him for being so famous, then, you know, for being the Harry Potter, then it kind of makes a lot of sense. And then of course the line where it was like, there were times when I wish you weren't my son. He like yelled it like really straight away. Albus yells like, no, I just wish you weren't my dad. And like straight on to that, he was like, well, there were times I wish you weren't my son. Like really angry, really emotional. You could really tell that he just blurted it out. Didn't really mean it. Like, he's just really frustrated and probably wishes he had a better relationship with his son, wishes that they got along better, that his son's happier. And that's, you could kind of tell that that's what he was trying to say, but it came out all wrong, and he was just completely frustrated because Albus was kind of like being really annoying and kind of mean as well. But like, yeah, Harry was supposed to be the grown-up, but that's what the entire play is about, like their relationship, at least in the play. But yeah, when I read it, I was like, oh, that might actually kind of seem like out of the blue. In the play it wasn't, but like everyone was like, oh, how could you say that, Harry? You could kind of like feel the gasp of, yeah, of all the people around you, like, what did you just say? Like, oh, oh, poor Albus and Harry. And then came the dream scene, which was really weird at first, because you, like, in the play it says Act 1, Scene 8, Dream, Hot on the Rock, but you didn't know it was a dream at first, because you were like, wait, where are we? Wait, what happened? Then we're like, oh, that's Tiny Harry. And then eventually you figured out it was a dream. And these dreams were really well done and kind of like spooky, especially like the Harry Potter at the end and everything. And like Harry completely freaking out when he woke up. It was kind of scary sometimes. But this one was pretty well done. It was funny seeing Hagrid. Because, you know, Hagrid is kind of like a comic book figure, like not really, but not like a real person. They did really well in the movies, but in the play it was like someone playing dress up a bit, but he was really good. But at first I was like, what? But he played his role really well, and it was fun seeing like scenes such iconic scenes from the book and from the movies on the play. Okay, so Act 1, Scene 11 is when Albus and Scorpius, or kind of like Albus, decides we're gonna save Diggory, we're gonna save the Sparrow, because he feels like a Sparrow, like the guy, or the boy in this case, that isn't really important. It's all about Harry Potter, all about his dad, and he's just, you know, in this case, the disappointment of the Potter family, so he really feels with Cedric. And he decides to go and save him. So they go on top of the train, and the train was just like this big like block, dark block that moved around, but you heard like train noises and they were standing on top of it like, whoa. And in my mind, like when I think back, it's almost as if they were really standing on top of train cars, even though it didn't look like a train at all, but you knew it was supposed to be a train. And they acted it so well that it kind of felt like a train. I thought it was really cool. Because, you know, it's a stage. They have to work with props. They can't put an entire train in there. And I thought they did that really well. And I really liked that. And then when the witch came, it was hilarious. Everyone was like, what? Which, like, anything from the trolley there? Like, on top of a train. Everyone was like, it was hilarious. And then when she got angry and the book says, like, and her fingers grow. I can imagine people like, how do they do that? Like a lot of the things that they say there, that people will be like, how, what? But her fingers actually grew. It was so creepy. It's like going really long, and no idea how they did it, but it was terrifying, and everyone was like, what? It was amazing. It was so cool. Slightly spooky to actually see them like growing. Like you would, like on TV you'd probably be like, oh, it looks fake, but like in real life that looks really awesome. I also really like the fact of like knowing more about the witch, the trolley witch, and like that she's a guardian of the train, doesn't even know her own name anymore, just been there for ages and ages, actually makes the sweets herself. And that she also made sure that like Sirius never got off the train and Fred and George never got off the train. I thought it was hilarious. Okay, so Act 1, Scene 14, St. Oswald's Home for Old Witches and Wizards. Or actually, Scene 13 was hilarious. It's like all these old bats just going crazy, like throwing spells at each other, and it was amazing because they were actual spells, so like all the things they described actually happened and more, and just laughing their heads off. And then you had like Albus and Scorpius like, okay, are we really gonna go in there? That was just, yeah, the whole play was so funny, like piece of drama, and then just at the moment where you're like, I'm gonna die, like I'm crying and so emotional or scary or whatever, there would be some stupid joke that just lifted the tension, and it was brilliant. Also, I really like the character Delphi. Again, spoiler, but I assume you by now you've read the book or seen the play, or you wouldn't be watching this, but like I had no idea at the beginning that she was gonna be a bad guy. I actually really thought that she was Amos's niece who just wanted to help an old man, like who probably talked about his son all the time, and that must be quite hard if it's your own uncle. So yeah, I had no idea that she was bad. And I thought she was actually kind of a cool character. Okay, so the part where they turn into like, you know, Albus turns into Ron, Delphi turns into Hermione, and Scorpius turns into Harry, that was so amazingly done, because they were actually just, they didn't go off stage like, oh, I turned into someone. They were just standing there in their cloaks and going like, and then they kind of like went into their cloaks, and then like Harry or Ron or Hermione came back up. It was amazing. I think they were standing like on top of a ledge or something, I'm not sure, but then like there was one moment where when one of them turned a bit and you could see that they were a bit big from behind, so there was probably someone hiding there, but even so, it was amazing. And then suddenly they were just them, and the actors for like Albus and Scorpius and Delphi were gone, and it was amazing. That was such an awesome trick. Yeah, really blew my mind away. And then when they walked into the telephone box, they kind of like grouped together, walked like hand in hand towards the telephone box, typed in the number, and then they literally went into like the telephone receiver thing, I think, or like the slot where the money comes out of. I'm not sure which one of the two it was, but like they were sucked in. It was so cool. So cool. It was like, especially the first time, I did it a few times. After a while you're like, oh, actually I can see what you're doing. But like the first time, I think it was Harry the first time maybe. I'm just kind of leafing through it, so I might skip a few bits. But blown away. Just blown away. So amazingly cool. Also the Albus / Ron and the real Hermione scene was so hilarious. Like everyone just couldn't stop laughing. The fact that he was like, hello darling, like draping himself across the door and like, let's have another baby or holiday. It was hilarious. And then when he like kissed his aunt, everyone was either laughing or like going, oh, what did he do? It was so much fun. That was such a hilarious scene and so well done, because you actually felt, same in the movies, like whenever they turn into someone else with the polyjuice potion, I always thought they did it so well, because you know, you didn't see Bellatrix, you saw Hermione looking like Bellatrix. So that was Helena playing Hermione playing Bellatrix. That was so cool, like in the movies, and they did it the same way, like the same great acting in the play, that you actually still thought of them as the original character, not the one they looked like, and I thought that was really well done. So then when they go into Hermione's office, you have this giant bookcase there, and when they picked the right book, it kind of like popped out and opened, and like this light shone on it and this voice sound. It was really cool. And when they say like the bookcase, and when they say that the bookcase actually grabbed them, they were just like hands coming like out of the bookcase, like white hands, I think, like the same color of the bookcase, or maybe they were, I'm not sure if they were white or, nah, I don't know. But anyway, hands coming out, like reaching for them, but it did really seem like they were like part of the bookcase. And that was really cool, and they were like sucked into it by these latches opening and stuff, but it was awesome. And like, stop recording, thank you very much. This is gonna be such a long video, but when they came out again, like as themselves, like out of the bookcase, and then were transformed back into themselves, like papers flew everywhere. That was really cool as well. Yeah, and the riddle, that was kind of hard to understand because they were kind of like shouting, there were all these things going on, and it went kind of fast, so I didn't understand the riddle. I was like, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. When I read it now, it's like, oh, it makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, there was like there were two bits, I think it was like, wait, what did they say? But other than that, it was perfect. But this was one of them, so I was kind of, I like reading it, like knowing what they actually said. And then when they got the time turner, so cool. Like when they activated, they all went around it with the hand. So like one of them was like this, the other one was like this, or like this. And the time turner actually like floated in the middle and made movements and colors and sounds, and it was really cool. So then there was the info, and you were just like, what? And like there was this standing ovation. No, not yet, that was at the end, but like people wanted to give a standing ovation. You could just tell, but they were already gone. But like everyone was shouting and clapping, it was so cool, and you could just tell that everyone was blown away by how awesome it was, and what a magic show it was, and how great the acting was, and how the story was going. And I just sat there in my seat. I don't think I even like stood up or moved. I was just like, I needed to start again right now. Okay, so Act 2, Scene 1 starts with a memory of Harry when he's under the cupboard. By now you were like, oh, this is a memory or a dream or something. And it was just so sad. Like that he wet himself, because that's what little kids do. Like of course that's what little kids do, but like kids who are traumatized or really unhappy, they tend to pee the bed more. That's just what happens, psychological and everything. And she was so mean to him, and oh, it was just all so sad. And then he dreamed about his parents, and that was also kind of like the moment that you were like, Harry is a damaged kid. Like, it's no wonder that he has issues with his son and a bit with his wife, and that he doesn't know how to really express himself well emotionally and deal with his son, because he never really had parents, which he says in the play. But also like he has so much emotional baggage. Like I don't know if they have wizard strings, but he should probably have seen one. Maybe he did, but like it kind of like reminded you, like, yeah, he went through a lot from like a really early age, and this kind of like this little glimpse in his life, like what he was like what his life was like, kind of reminds you like he's not a bad guy. You can't really help it, because you kind of start to dislike him a bit when he was so mean to Elvis. But yeah, I thought that was a really good scene to put in there to kind of remind us that he did have, like, even before like, oh, you're gonna die saving the world, and oh, there's this evil, the most evil wizard of all time, and he wants to kill you. Even before all that, he had like a really crappy, traumatizing childhood. And yeah, I thought it was a really good scene to put in there. So, Act 2, Scene 3, Hogwarts Headmistress's office. McGonagall was really cool. Like, she had a really strong accent, just like in the movie. And I also like that they didn't really try to be exactly like their movie counterparts. They really made the role their own without deviating from the, you know, the character in the books. And they were still similar to the characters in the movie, but I don't know, especially later on with Snape. He didn't like try to mimic Alan Rickman's voice. Like sometimes he did a little bit, but that's just Snape's character. Like that's just his sarcasm and everything. But I don't know, at first I was like, that's not Snape. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. But yeah, I like that they were their own characters. Also, when Draco came out of the fireplace, it was so cool, because there was a fireplace with actual fire in it, and then it went out, and then they kind of like fell down a chute or something and really like flew into the room. It was really cool, but it must be so scary, because what if they didn't turn off the like the flames in time, or they went back on while you were on them. Yeah, it seems really scary to me. But I really liked Draco, by the way. His character was amazing. He was such dry humor. And I liked that he was like just looking out for his son. I really liked the Draco character in the play. And then Act 2, Scene 5, where Harry is in the Forbidden Forest looking for his son, and he comes across Bane. That was also so well done, because it was actually like there was a centaur there. What they did was they made the back of the stage really dark, and then there were specific lights, so you saw his like front, and then you saw his back legs, but I think it was just like a guy standing. It wasn't like a real horse suit, like entire all the way, but you didn't see that. That's just what I'm guessing. That was just a guy with like entire black hair and then horse legs to play the back legs. Like, what did you play in Harry Potter? I played the back legs of a centaur. Still pretty cool though. But yeah, he was awesome. That was so cool, and like the hooves like really moved together. It was really like there was a horse on stage. It was awesome. Oh, and also Harry pretty much like destroyed me when he was shouting for Albus, because like in books it's like Albus, Albus, but like the emotion in his voice, he was like, you really, like, I'm almost tearing up just thinking about it. I actually had to cry like the second time, because he starts with like shouting for Albus and then he comes across Bane, but like such raw emotion, like of a parent looking for his child, especially like when you left with such an argument, and it was so real. Like, I'm still kind of getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Such a great actor, because when Bane left, I was like, oh, please don't shout his name again, because I am gonna cry. And he was like, raw, like, Albus, like this really panicked, like, where are you? I need to find you. And I cried, and I think everyone cried, or just like almost crying. It was so good, so emotional. You just like, yeah, it was great. You have Act 2, Scene 6, the edge of the Forbidden Forest. Before they time travel, you have Scorpius and Albus, and I really like that Scorpius is kind of like, actually, I really love it at Hogwarts. All I wanted was go to Hogwarts and have a best friend, just like Harry Potter. I really like that idea of like a young Scorpius reading his favorite history books, because he is a massive nerd, and just reading about Harry Potter and like how he had best friends at school and everything, and just dreaming of that day himself, because he didn't have a fun childhood either, kind of like hidden away with a poorly mother, and of course like he probably had lots of love from his parents, but seems kind of lonely. And yeah, and then when he was like, and I got to be best friends with Harry Potter's son, like exactly as he imagined, like getting a best friend, being in Hogwarts, having like shenanigans and fun and everything, and he actually got the son of the kind of like the hero that he based his dreams on, and I thought it was so cute. Like, it was like, actually, I'm really glad that you're my friend. I'm having a blast at Hogwarts, and Albus is just like focusing on all the negative things. Sounds familiar. Bit like his father. But yeah, I thought that was a really great scene. And then when they actually activated Time Turner, it was so cool. I think that they projected maybe like the set onto the set and then made that move, because it felt like everything was kind of like, ooh, like kind of, I have no idea how to describe it, kind of like ripples in a pond, like that effect, but then on stage, and like everything actually kind of like bubbled and moved, and it was so cool. And it took me like a few times before I was like, I think they're doing this with lights, or like a projection and lights or something like that, but it looked awesome. And again, like the Time Turner like floated between them, and it was so cool. And then Act 2, Scene 7, when they actually go into the past, and then you have Hermione there, which was of course played by the actress Rose, because yeah, that makes sense. And I really like the fact that they were like, Rose, what are you doing here? Like typical teenage boy, like not thinking it through, because they didn't really think things through here, but they are like what, 13, 14, something like that. But like, how could Rose be there? Like, obviously it's Hermione, and yeah. I also really like the fact that that made her really suspicious of Durmstrang. And that, yeah, I like that. And then when they went back, there was this loud snap, and like when his arm breaks, that was actually kind of like scary, because it was like really loud and everyone was like panicking, and you had the weird ripple effects and everything. It was really well done.